we run down the latest news and happenings in the world of geek. These are your hosts for the show, Steven, Chris, and SP.
Welcome to an all-new episode of the officialgonnageek.com show. I am Steven, has two weird keyboards beside me for some reason, John Drew, and with me, of course, is SP, only has one keyboard in front of him.
Yeah, I was thinking about using my Bluetooth keyboard for my phone, but I just haven't brought it over yet, so it's just the singular keyboard.
I'm also pleased to say that he's here to continue to tell me why I am wrong, and he does it all the time. It is indeed Chris Farrell has a billion keyboards in front of him.
You're just jealous that I got two keyboards right here in front of me so that I can counter your multiple keyboards.
I'm very jealous of that. So jealous that I will go and cry in a corner.
Do you want me to get a third one out? I got one sitting right over here too. I just
Sure,
have to
if you'd like.
disconnect my screen from my Surface.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you could go ahead and just grab a few more.
Actually, I got four because there's two Surfaces sitting here.
So for the audio listener, I have a backdrop behind me. It's a illuminated backdrop, and on there is microphones. I would like to see Chris Farrell have a backdrop of all keyboards. That's what it should be.
Will you finance my construction of said backdrop?
I probably won't. However, I'll send you some Gorilla glue or something like that, and you got to figure out how to glue it to your wall.
Here you go. Here's another keyboard for you, Steven. So that's three.
Three. Well, I do tech.
I don't want to. To get my fourth, I have to undock my soundboard, and then it's a pain to get the sound to go out properly. I
got another one.
Do you guys count the Stream Decks as a keyboard?
I mean, with macros, it sort of can be a keyboard.
I think I'm out of keyboards. I think I'm out right now.
So I could win, but I'm far too lazy to have to reconfigure everything to win. So we'll just call it a tie.
I could get up. I could go to the garage. I've got a keyboard in there with the security system. I guess.
Do you want my laptop keyboard here? I'll just pull out the laptop and open it to the keyboard. Does that count?
I was going to say, my work laptop's behind me too. I could grab that.
I mean, if we're talking all the keyboards in the house, I think I got you guys beat.
Probably, but we could just spend the show, walk away. Hey guys, I found another one, and then we'll just go and continue on the whole night.
That's going to be riveting podcasting and video production right there.
I want to see this backdrop, this Chris's backdrop.
Steven's got to fund it. I
will fund it if you're going to make it. I want to see it.
He's tempted. He's tempted.
My laziness is at war with my make everyone spend money to do something stupid thoughts.
You know, the thing is, like, they could be so easy, like, affordably done, because of the fact that as long as you don't want to actually illuminate it or anything like that, because of the fact that there's always places that have like a surplus of keyboards. You could probably pick them up for like a couple bucks a pop.
Go on eBay and get them for like $3 a pop, probably.
So that has been Keyboard Talk with the Gonna Geek crew.
It's the keyboard.
You started it.
I did. No, by the way, the reason I actually introduced Chris Farrell as saying you're wrong, or Steven tells me that I'm wrong, is because last week he corrected me many times, and I didn't really argue it. I didn't argue it, except for the multiverse. I argued that and got the last laugh because I named the episode after that. So
I repressed all of that. I'll be honest.
I listened to it again. That was riveting discussion. That was great. Let's do that again.
Can I also say, by the way, that I did a little better Googling after, and what's his face? What's Batman's name again? What the hell's his name?
Which Batman?
Bruce Wayne?
The one we talked about last week. What's his name?
We talked about all of them last week.
Which one? Pattinson?
No, the other one. The
Ben Affleck?
Oh my, no.
Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton, thank you. Michael Keaton's IMDb resume has a lot up per year, but it's questionable per year. So it's not big Hollywood blockbuster films. It's like a guy. You know how you always see these TV actors and they're like, yeah, after this, I continued acting because I did a play. It's that sort of stuff. It's the equivalent, but in film.
He has 350 IMDb credits. How many do you have, Steven?
One.
Steven does Dallas, right?
No. Actually, podcasts are in IMDb now. Did you not know this, Chris?
Is our podcast in IMDb?
I don't know.
Then 0.
By the way, I think it's time for the news.
Please.
Mute myself. All right, let's kick it all off here with some really odd and like what feels like really, really late Microsoft news. This is about a new tool that they are releasing. Microsoft has revealed or released a new app on the Microsoft Store that's designed to help with the recovery of deleted files. The app, which is named Windows File Recovery, is a command line utility that can attempt to recover deleted files from both internal and external drives, as well as USB drives and other media. The file types include JPEG, PDF, PNG, MPEG, Office files, MP3, MP4, zip files, and across a variety of different file systems. Now, like I said, this is a tool that is a command line tool, and jury's out on what the success is going to be like because of the fact that this is a new tool. However, it is now available within the App Store. And the reason I wanted to bring this up was a couple reasons. Number one, the fact that Microsoft's finally coming out and acknowledging, hey, when you hit delete, sometimes there's an easy way to get that back. Anybody that's done file recovery or knows anything of it will know that this is a common thing. There are many different apps out there that are really easy to recover files that people have simply just deleted within Windows. It's relatively easy with the delete process that they do. I myself have actually used them before to recover some files. This is not a new thing by any means. This is many, many, many years old that there's been lots of success with this. It's really important that people recognize this. And so I'm kind of happy that they started to do this because this acknowledges the fact that this is out there. And maybe that will get some people, a few more people aware of the fact that, yes, you hit delete. Doesn't mean you can go give your hard drive to somebody else and it's safe. Might easily be recoverable. But the second thing I wanted to bring back was about what I said. The command line. What the heck, Microsoft? Like, I get that it's a command line. There's probably a reason behind that, but can we not have a nice GUI? There are other recovery tools that have a nice GUI. Why are you doing a command line? Not only are you late to the game for the tool itself, you're using an antiquated interface that many people are going to be completely confused about because of the fact that there are lots of people who use computers that have never used a command line before. They're not everybody's techie like you and me and everybody listening to this show. A lot of people have not used the command line. So I just find it weird that they would release it this way and now, but it's available.
Well, the command line's not, I mean, I'm sort of with you that if you make it something that's command line interface, your average consumer is probably going to be turned off by it and not consider using it. But it's not really that daunting a proposition. Maybe I'm jaded because I'm in the command line on my Linux box every day for work, but what to do? It's the command line. It's not hard. You go in there, run a couple commands, bada bing, bada boom, you're done.
Yeah, I get that, but why would you not make a GUI?
Well, let's be honest. How many people are actually downloading this app that haven't already found other tools to do it or something like that? Microsoft's late to the party. This is them checking a box. I don't think you've really got a bunch of people who are like, oh my God, Microsoft finally put a file recovery tool out there. My life is complete. It's, oh, Microsoft has one now. So there's an easier way for me to do this because it might be included as part of the Windows baseline in the future or something like that, versus having to go and download a custom tool to go and fix someone's computer because he's like, I deleted something important. How do I get it back? Versus, just restore from the recycle bin, which is probably what 99% of people have to do.
Which I think you've actually made my case, because the people who are going to casually download this are going to be people who are doing it out of a casual manner. They're not going to be the people who actually have the tools already that have been doing this for a while. There'll be people who are just like, okay, I just need to try this out because it's a new thing, or I deleted it. I wonder if there's something here. Let me search the store. They're not going to be the overly educated people on the process that have these prior tools. So wouldn't you want that target audience to actually have like a GUI?
I don't think they care. Microsoft's checking a box, which is now we have a built-in tool to do this. And you can arguably say when it comes to trying to figure out what tool to get to restore a deleted file. Do you trust Microsoft or do you trust this random thing I found when I Googled? You're probably going to trust Microsoft more than random tool X that you may never have heard of before, that God knows what else is being installed on there. All they're doing is checking a box.
But if I was to not know command line and I started to do the Microsoft thing and I got confused, then I'm going to go and Google the other one.
Steven, you'll also Google how to use the tool. Let's be honest. Google will answer any of these questions. If you forget a command line command, all you do is Google, how do I do this in DOS? Boom, there's your command. Or how do I do it in Linux? Google knows everything if you get stuck. And I don't know. I haven't looked at this tool yet. Microsoft probably has some fairly decent directions that go along with, here's what you need to do. Here's the commands you need to know. Stuff like that. I mean, I understand the complaint, oh, it's command line, but we're dogging them for putting out a free tool that replaces what is often paid hardware that people are buying to restore deleted files. Why? They gave us something free that presumably will do the job.
So let's ask SP what his thoughts were, because all I took away from Chris is that Microsoft doesn't care about anybody. That's what I took from his statement.
It's just like the multiverse again.
I'm hoping that Microsoft is able to undelete files from a hard drive that's failed, because then I would actually use the tool.
So what you're saying is that you want a backup service. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that would be great if Microsoft actually did that inherently with everybody's computer.
You know what they should do? They should create like a system, and like it could supplement a bunch of drives, so you'd have like one drive. That's what they should do. Is they should create something that's just like one drive,
like wonton soup, like that. Just one drive.
One drive. Yes, or one drive, like my brother. It's like, sorry.
So Steven, I think that was good. I hadn't even thought of that.
I kind of understand less your complaint now that I've pulled up some stuff about this recovery tool. And literally when you run it, it brings up the Windows file recovery thing command line, gives you examples of how to run the tool, what all the different commands are. So literally all you're doing is looking at the example that's in there and changing a directory letter or something like that to run the tool.
It's still a command line, and command lines are very intimidating for some people. And you like, we are techie, but there are people who are off put by command lines.
I will understand that, because if you go in and you change BIOS or something like that, it's kind of very similar to the command line. And that is something that you do not want to do, or go in and edit a sys file or something like that. You don't want to do that if you don't know what you're doing. And those people don't know that a command line won't completely screw up your computer unless you do, one of the mass delete commands or something like that, which you could do. But I think command lines are overrated. I grew up with computers that weren't computers, and then they started to be computers. So I'm very familiar with that sort of thing. Do I go into a command line? The last time I've gone into a command line, like the last 5, 10, 15 times, is to do a ping test, a continuous ping test, to test my internet connection, to test my modem, to test my Wi-Fi adapter, to test my computer. That's what I use a command line for, or command prompt for. And Steven, I do have a question for you on this. Does this work in the Mac OS terminal as well?
Yes, yes, it does.
If you're running Parallels and have a Windows instance in there, you could probably do it, but I don't think it's going to work in Mac OS because it's a Windows tool.
No, you find it. So you get it through the Microsoft Store, and it's made by Microsoft. Therefore, it will work on Apple. All right, let's move on to the next news point, which is about some iOS or some i changes. What do we got going on in the world of i?
I can't wait to see how Steven is going to just come 100% different opinion than me and steamroll me on this one. It's going to be delightful, everyone. Delightful.
Can I just say right now that I disagree with your point?
I rest my case, everyone.
At least you know it's coming, Chris.
Well, I knew it was coming as soon as he mentioned the multiverse at the top of the show. So we've got some interesting theories coming from some well-connected analysts about this year's upcoming iPhones not having necessarily as much in the box as you're used to. And I'm going to butcher the guy's name here. I apologize. But according to a well-connected analyst by the name of Ming-Chi Kuo, I believe it is, Apple is planning to stop including a power adapter and earpods, in the box with 2020 models, and even remove the power adapter from the new iPhone SE's packaging later this year. His research note was reported on Apple Insider, Mac Rumors, 9 to 5 Mac, The Verge. Pretty much any tech blog out there had picked it up. So why is Apple doing this? Supposedly it's an attempt to offset the cost increases that come with upgrading the iPhone range to 5G. Also, smaller packaging would be more eco-friendly and also reduce shipping costs since more phones could fit into a single shipment. And of course, there's also the conspiracy theory that if they don't bundle with headphones, you might be more inclined to buy some AirPods from them later. Right now, Apple includes earpods with all iPhones, a 5-watt USB-A adapter with the iPhone 11 and SE, and an 18-watt USB-C adapter with the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. Last year's inclusion of that 18-watt charger came after years of complaints from customers regarding the slow 5-watt adapter. So I guess maybe that's part of why they're phasing it out, is people complain too much. I don't know. And I'm going to say something here, Steven, I'm sure you'll disagree. I sort of get the whole get rid of the headphones thing at this point in time, because most people already have headphones, or they use their Bluetooth ones they've got already, or they have a comfortable pair. And those headphones that come in the box are literally just a backup pair that get tossed in your work bag or in a drawer. But to not include a power brick with a phone you are buying, I don't understand. I buy this phone, I have no way to charge it unless I buy a separate power adapter. I have one already. Presumably it will still include the cable, so I could plug it into a USB port in my car or plug it into a USB port on my computer. But how much are they actually saving to not include that power brick in there to charge my phone? That I don't get it. It's not it's the opposite of consumer friendly. If I'm buying a phone, you have to give me the means of how to charge it. Come on. I don't get it. What are you doing, Apple?
Most people that buy iPhones now have a previous iPhone. So in this case, I have an iPhone 8 Plus. It has wireless charging. I've been using wireless charging on it forever. And if I use corded charging, it's usually, like you said, into the car or some sort of area that I'm in, or maybe a power brick that I have. So I'm not so incensed that they're not including a power adapter. Also, if they do knock $50 off the high-end phone price,
they're not going to knock $50 off to you. They're going to knock it off on their bottom line.
Right. So that's my point, is that they are knocking. The projection is that it's going to be $50 cheaper this year. The same models are going to be $50 cheaper. Where are they going to take that from? A power adapter. And they're going to catch you on the back end. If you want that 18-watt power adapter, then you're going to have to pay $50 for that Apple power adapter, or that. They don't have a wireless charger, but they probably sell them through their store.
I have one thing to say to you, Chris.
What?
That's what I have to say to you.
Gee, thanks for replaying stuff from the pre-show that no one has any context of.
No, okay. Kidding aside, I would really love to disagree with you. I would, because I like to fight with you, Chris Farrell. However, I'm totally with you on this. I think that when we think about the problem, what is the most universal problem with iPhones across all generations? It's that the cord breaks. The cord breaks. That goes way garbage back. The cord always breaks and you're always replacing it. And what is one of the other big issues that we faced with Apple over the years was that they
5-watt charger sucks.
The charger, there's charger issues that also die, but because of that, there was this whole thing a while back about you got to use Apple chargers. You need to do it. These are the reasons why. And they were big proponents of it because of the fact that there were problems with some of these aftermarket chargers and things like that. Because these are continuous issues, your charger is something that dies. I think it's a load of crock to not include it, because you're getting a brand new device and now you're telling your customers you should either buy it on your own and spend more money on it, or use your old hardware that might be third party, that might be damaged, that has wear on it, that might not have consistent voltage on your brand new $1,000 device. That's not good. You get, because now if there is an issue with that, the customers are of course going to have to warranty it, which we'll see how that plays out. But at the least, they're covering warranty on this. But I just think it's bad from the perspective of your device requires power. Why are you not setting up your consumer with a brand new power source? And I just think like this is a really silly thing to not include a power source for a phone.
They want to go to no port, right? So this is the first step to that. They've already done the headphones thing, so gotten rid of the headphone jack. I don't think
not including a power adapter is a step towards the port. It's a step towards them cheaping out.
I agree. Especially because they don't have a wireless charger yet. And it's not like there's a history of these chargers lasting forever. I think it's terrible. And I don't care who's not including it. If it was Google, I'd be giving them the same amount of flack too. This is not the AirPod issue, or the headphone issue where I thought it was a silly idea, but I said the consumers would evolve. Like, consumers probably will evolve, but I think there's a lot more merit here than there was for the lack of the headphones, because Bluetooth was pretty good. This here, your phone requires power. And it's not like these phones are coming out right away and there is an Apple wireless charger. People are still going to plug it in. So I agree with Chris. Sorry that I couldn't disagree with you, Chris.
It costs them pennies. It costs them pennies to produce that. And I don't wager it takes up that much more space in the box. So I guess if you factor in the pennies it costs and the fact that each box of iPhones you send out might have space for half of a phone, might take up the space of half of a phone because of that. So you can start figuring out for every 2 boxes of iPhones I send out, I could have sent out 1 extra.
Well, and the other thing that's kind of frustrating for me from the power or the price perspective is, like, if Apple had kept it a certain price for generation, and then we saw a $50 drop, that would be a little bit different, because now they are for sure offsetting it. However, we did see a big price increase, and now there's apparently a shift to get the price back down, and that's not, and them pulling out a charger, if that's how they're lowering their price, is not them lowering the overall price of the handset. That's just them taking out a charger and cheaping out. And that's not what we want. That's what we look like the manufacturers were going towards, creating products that could be sold at a lower price. And you got to compare apples to apples. So if they're lower, but you add the charger back in and now they're higher, well, then they haven't decreased the price.
And I think it's important to mention, like Steven said, if this was any phone company, just because it's Apple isn't why we're being critical here, at least me and presumably Steven. If it was Google doing it, if it was Samsung, OnePlus or something like that was like, oh, you buy the new phone, but all you get's a power cable and no brick to charge your phone, I would have issue with that. In this case, it's just a happy coincidence it's Apple is doing it, so I can get Steven all riled up.
The other thing that I think is interesting to think of from here is there's been the USB-C rumors and all that for a long time. The phone is still Lightning, right? That's I
think the Pros, aren't they USB-C now? I don't know.
The iPads, right?
The iPads are, yes.
Yeah.
I have an iPad 11 Pro upstairs that is USB-C.
Are the phones?
That I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I just think, like, if they're using a non-standard and it's still their standard, I think that's even more negative of removing
Suncast says none of them are USB-C.
Okay.
And remember, they don't have to pay a licensing fee to themselves to use a Lightning cable too. So maybe that's the play, is they'll make you buy a charger from someone else. They get that licensing fee for the Lightning cable that comes with it.
I guess when I go back to it, right, I just had another revelation here, is you buy a computer power supply, you still get the power cable. How many people have that damn cable in 1,000 different places in their house, right? Like, you still get the power cable. You buy a media box, you get the power cable, like a cable box or something like that. You get the power cable, even though it's often a universal one, right? Like, you still get the power cable with things elsewhere. I guess trying to be well-rounded and think of the other side of the coin. What do you buy that doesn't have the power cable? And that's a legitimate question.
Lots of stuff now. There's stuff that comes in that doesn't have the. I'm trying to remember the last thing I bought that didn't have the cable, but yeah, there's stuff that comes in that doesn't have the cable now.
I mean, you buy things that don't necessarily have HDMI cables, but that's not the same.
Yeah.
No, power cable.
Well,
no.
that's why I'm asking for the example, because I legitimately can't think of one right now. So
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I do remember receiving several things this past year that did not have a power cable in it.
All right. Well, we've got the rest of the show. If you got something, bring it up, because I don't know. When I look around and I think about it, like my monitor's power cable, the sound mixers I get power cable. Like I said, the boxes, the cable boxes. I guess I don't know. I'm stumped to think of one that doesn't. But if you have one, let us know. We're live on Mondays at geeks.live. You can come chat with us there. We'd love it if the chat has anything they can think of as well. And you can email us as well, or come to our Discord at come to our Discord at gonnageek.com/Discord. Let's talk a little bit about space, eh?
Apparently, and Stephen led into that because Canada is now scheduled to go to the moon. Well, sort of. Lunar orbit. That's close enough, right? So their company called MDA is scheduled to build a robotic arm for the Lunar Gateway space station, which, to be honest, I have not put a lot of faith into it until very recently, because I didn't know if it was going to go anywhere. Since contracts are being let now, it has a better chance of actually happening. So let's talk about this. This is from an article at spacenews.com from Jeff Faust on June 27th. And he said that the Canadian Space Agency announced on Friday, June 26th, it plans to award a contract to McDonald Detwiller and Associates, also known as MDA, to build a robotic arm that will be Canada's contribution to the Lunar Gateway. The deal covers development of what the agency calls Canadarm3, which is an overarching robotic system for the Gateway, rather than a single robotic arm. It features one arm, 8.5 meters long, as well as a smaller but more dexterous second arm. The system also includes a set of specialized tools and incorporates artificial intelligence technologies to enable operations without human controllers. HAL 9,000, anybody? Okay.
We don't learn up here, okay?
Apparently not. The selection of MDA is not surprising. The company built the original Canadarm for the space shuttle and the Canadarm2 with the Dextra manipulator, which is currently operating on the International Space Station. MDA was previously part of US-based Maxar and was sold to Canadian investors in a deal that closed in April and did include the ARM technology. The Canadian government announced its intent to cooperate on the Lunar Gateway in February 2019 by building the Canadarm3, making it the first country to commit to participating in the NASA-led Gateway program. Again, I didn't talk about this on the program because I didn't believe it was going to happen. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said that the country would spend 2.05 billion Canadian dollars, which is $1.25 American or something, over 24 years on lunar initiatives. That includes both Canadarm3 and the Lunar Exploration Accelerator Program, a government effort to spend 150 million Canadian dollars over 5 years to support science and technology initiatives related to lunar exploration. At the time of Trudeau's announcement, the Gateway was scheduled to be completed in time to support a human lunar landing by 2028. However, a month later, U.S. Vice President Mike Pence said at a meeting of the National Space Council that he was directing NASA to speed up the landing to 2024, putting plans for the Gateway development into limbo. One might speculate why 2024 was the date for the lunar landing, but I will leave that to you. NASA officials have reiterated that the Gateway, including Canadarm3, remains a part of its long-term lunar exploration plans, while NASA has recently proposed to launch the first two modules of the Gateway, which we talked about before on this podcast, the Power and Propulsion Element, or PPE, and the Habitation and Logistics Output, HALO, as a single element in 2023. The agency may not use it for its planned 2024 landing, though, having Orion instead dock directly with the lunar lander in lunar orbit, very similar to the Apollo program. Besides Canada, both Europe and Japan have announced their intent to participate in the Gateway by providing additional modules. Russia has even considered developing an airlock module for the Gateway, but has yet to make a formal commitment to participate. So I want to say congratulations. Canada is the first non-United States country that is going to contribute to this resurgence back to the Loon.
I'll just go ahead and say you're welcome. It was me. It was all my doing. I cited your name several times and convinced Justin to do that. I'm on the first name basis with him, by the way.
Of course he is.
Yeah, so convinced him to do it. So him and we got together and we talked about our hair and how I basically told him he was sexy. That's what it came down to.
Do you guys talk about your socks too?
Yeah, we do. We talk
Star Wars socks.
Yeah, we talk all about that, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the important thing here is Steven got that 3D printer now, so he got the exclusive contract to 3D print a widget that goes in this arm.
Mm-hmm.
It's all done by one Gonna Geek Industries. So now he can afford to pay us, SP.
All kidding aside, I think this is cool. Obviously Canada doesn't have as much into the space programs as Marca does, but I have talked about the Canadarm before. I've a couple times commented about how by the way, you think we might be brushing over, like we might be saying that wrong. It's actually Canadarm. It's Canadarm. It's not Canada Arm. It's Canadarm. So I've talked about it before, about how it was an important thing for the space shuttle. Truthfully, until today, and you put this news article in there, I didn't know there was a Canadarm too. We learned, back in the day, teach all about the one, because the space shuttle was such an important thing in that era, and so as a Canadian, the schools like to preach that. They're like, hey, look, it's our big contribution, it's an important thing. You always go through like the Canada in space module sort of thing in schools, and they're like, look at this, it's cool. I didn't know there was a 2. I honestly didn't know that.
I think we talked about it on the podcast before, and if we didn't, my apologies. This technology is actually really important because you're going to do more robotic things in space over time, and that includes space mining. And we've talked about that before, about the special minerals and special deposits that might be found on orbiting bodies that are either in the asteroid belt, the Kepler belt, the Oort cloud, something like that. And there's just a lot of stuff out there, and I just don't see humans being sent to all these places. So technologies like an artificial intelligence enabled Canadarm would actually be very good. And it's not just the United States and Canada that's doing this. This is worldwide. So I would expect the technologies to be developed in other countries as well. And then you're going to have an DARMS race of who gets the best technology.
Well,
I see what you did there.
I see what you did there. But as you're saying it, now I'm sitting here and thinking, like, what other ways could it be said? Canadarm.
I've always heard it said, even in NASA circles, as Canadarm, but they might have been misheard.
Canadarm. I guess they could. Yeah. I don't. It's probably said as Canadarm, but there is only one A in there. So yeah, whoever named it shouldn't have named it that way. They should have thrown an extra A in there. Canadarm. Canadarm.
Nobody would have been able to spell it with 2 A's in there.
Canadarm. Okay, we'll call it Canada. Or yeah, it could be like a quick arm. Canadarm. Canadarm. Canada. Okay, I'll stop. All right, moving on to our extra here. This is an important piece of news. This is one that I know Chris Farrell is going to look back on and go, my childhood. It was announced today that the parent company of Chuck E. Cheese has filed for bankruptcy. It's a sad day, Chris Farrell. What do you think of this?
Sad, actually.
What do you think of this?
I was kind of surprised Chuck E. Cheese was still open, to be honest, because where I live, there's no Chuck E. Cheese around or anything like that. But I mean, it kind of figures. I imagine they've been a on the edge of things for a while, and in the middle of a pandemic, a lot of people probably aren't wanting to go to Chuck E. Cheese and eat bad pizza, watch animatronic bands, and play video games and go in the ball pit.
You don't want to go in the ball pit?
Not unless they can clean it.
What's wrong with the ball pit?
The ball pit is fine if it's clean, but do you really think that's clean?
The ball pit was never, ever clean.
They're gonna finally clear out these places, and they're gonna find things from like when it opened at the bottom of that ball pit. That's what they'll find amongst kids.
I think the funniest thing I saw was on Twitter. There's a guy I follow by the name of Mint Zula who's big in the Diamond Club side of things. He goes, "Here's my great business plan. Someone fund me. We buy up all of these old Chuck E. Cheeses in the states where marijuana is legal. You pay $4.20 an hour to come in and play video games, eat crappy pizza, and watch the animatronic band and smoke all your weed that you bring in with you. We'll be rolling into cash."
That's funny. So I never had a Chuck E. Cheese around here. I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese, but as a kid, like I would get the commercials and I'd be like, "Oh, I want to go. It looks so cool." And then as I got a little older, I'm like, "Why do I want to go to this? This doesn't look cool. This looks terrifying." So anyways, I'm sad for you, Chris Farrell. I am sad for you.
They had really bad pizza, so I'm not going to miss them. I mean, granted, it's also been probably close to 30 years since I've been to a Chuck E. Cheese because, let's see, I'm a grown adult with no children. What reason do I have to go to Chuck E. Cheese?
I can't believe I'm the one of this group that's been to a Chuck E. Cheese, the latest, because we did have kids that had birthday parties when they were younger at the local Chuck E. Cheese, which thankfully is one of the places that's going to close down.
So,
that place is scary.
Pour one out for Charles Entertainment Cheese. We'll miss you.
Is that the name? Charles is that what the E stands for?
Yeah, Chuck is a shortened version of Charles. Charles Entertainment Cheese. Okay. I do believe that is his name.
So I guess with your business idea, what's the name going to be? Cannabis.
Oh, that's not mine. It's Mint Zula's idea. Let's give credit where credit is due.
So it'll be Cannabis E-Cheese. Is that what it'll be?
I don't know. I mean, the people that are going to pay the $4.20 an hour don't really care what the name is. They get to play a bunch of video games, eat bad pizza, and smoke their weed. This would be entertaining, I'm sure.
Charles Entertainment Cheese is the actual full name of the rat mascot of the Chuck E. Cheese chain.
I would like to see his birth certificate. Thank you very much.
I don't want anything to do with the birth of that nightmare.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to Geek Wars. Can I just say that Charles Entertainment Cheese is a lot less fun of a name?
Why do you think they called it Chuck E. Cheese?
All right, so last week on the show, Chris Farrell and I had another heated discussion. We had a heated discussion about Batman. We briefly mentioned that at the top of the show. At the top of the show, we talked about Batman, and I believe Chris Farrell's words were something to the effect of that nobody talks about the Schumacher Batman films anymore. So I thought it was my responsibility as a entertainer here to start the conversation again. We talked about it. Joel Schumacher did pass this last week, and Chris Farrell feels that his Batman films did not get enough recognition, so I thought I would solve that problem.
I think I said Batman Forever is actually a better movie than people remember. It's just Batman and Robin that's trash.
So today we're going to talk about the two. We're going to talk about Batman Forever, and we're going to talk about Batman and Robin.
Question.
Yes.
Do we get bonus points for freeze puns like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, we do.
Cool.
Before we go, before we do
right
this,
there.
Actually, hold on.
One bonus point for Chris.
Chill out, SP.
Oh, I forgot to set up the overlay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Hold on. I'm just seeing. I forgot. No, I've only got the quad overlay with the points, and let me double check that here. No, we won't be able to
put Charles Entertainment Cheese in the fourth quadrant.
we won't be able to do the points count on this, but I will still count points. Okay. At a point. Here we go. All right. So this is going to be a Batman Forever and Batman and Robin themed Geek Wars. And so if you're not familiar with this, what will happen is I will ask a question and these two will compete to see who is the bigger Batman fan. They will answer by saying their name or a name that they have made up, and they will get the chance to answer. If they don't answer correctly, the other person has an opportunity to steal the point and answer as well. And after the first couple, we'll go ahead and kind of alternate back and forth between the two films. Just got to keep things wonderfully balanced. I think it's important that we balance the love of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Are you two ready?
For the record, I have stated on this podcast before and other podcasts that I am not a Batman fan. So, Chris, congratulations.
You might know these. I actually stuck. Some of them are obvious. Some of them are you might. Okay.
All right, let's roll.
All right, let's go ahead and start it off here with question number 1. The Batman Forever poster featured 5 people on it. Who was on it aside from Val Kilmer, Chris O'Donnell, Tommy Lee Jones, and Jim Carrey? What?
Chris.
All right, Chris.
Nicole Kidman.
It was Nicole Kidman. You are correct. That means Chris is at 1. Which brings us to question number 2. What was the name of Nicole Kidman's character in Batman Forever?
Chris.
Chris?
Dr. Chase Meridian.
Wow, I didn't think you were going to get that. Okay, that
just watched this movie like a week ago.
Did you? Oh, God. I didn't realize this. Oh, man. I'm sorry, SB.
Like I said, congratulations, Chris.
All right, so then, moving on to question 3. In the poster for Batman and Robin, who was featured at the very top?
SP.
SP.
Do you want the character or the actor?
Either or.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You're absolutely correct. It was Arnie. Arnie got the top spot on the poster, which was not surprising, but odd.
I just remember that because his kind of got a chrome dome right on the top of everything. So.
And, he was the biggest name at that time too. George Clooney was not George Clooney yet at that point.
And it was almost George Clooney was pretty popular, I think, but it was like a quad almost, but then they had 5 people on it, so there's 2 shoved into one. It was a really poorly designed poster.
George Clooney was still mostly a TV guy at that point.
Yeah, when was Ocean's 11? That was what,
2001?
Yeah. Okay, so he was big at Ocean's 11.
Yeah, this was when he was doing ER still, I believe.
That's true.
Or around that same time frame.
All right, so next question. What was the name of the acrobatic act that Dick Grayson was a part of in Batman Forever? All right, Chris?
The Flying Graysons.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, SB. This is going to be a quick one.
It was on the tip of my tongue, but I knew Chris was going to get that because, well, he is the Batman fan of the two of us.
All right. So then let's flip back to Batman and Robin.
Ugh.
What was Batgirl's actual name in Batman and Robin? And bonus points if you can list what her relationship was to the other characters.
Her actual name?
What was her non-Bat name? Like
Chris?
Okay.
Barbara?
I need the full name.
Gordon?
No, that's incorrect.
I know the relationship, but
care to guess? No?
I'm out.
Okay, then what's the relationship, Chris?
Chris, she is Alfred's niece.
Yes, I will give you a point for that. It was
what was her last name?
Barbara Wilson. Barbara Wilson was what her name was.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
For some weird reason. I have
How ridiculous is it they didn't make her Barbara Gordon and that made her Alfred's niece?
Yeah,
come on. Have some respect for the source material.
Was there some sort of IP thing that Warner Brothers wasn't giving them or something?
No.
Yeah.
It's just they didn't really introduce they introduced Commissioner Gordon in like Batman, the original one that Burton did, and then I don't think he ever showed up again. So having her be Barbara Gordon, I think, wouldn't have resonated with anyone. So it was, let's make her Alfred's niece because this is brilliant. It wasn't. It's a bad movie, guys. Batman and Robin is a bad movie.
All right, so
it had Robin in it, though. I mean, if you didn't know anything about Batman, it had the characters.
Chris O'Donnell was pretty awesome.
Chris O'Donnell's not a bad Robin.
No, he was great. I think that he was.
It is so sad to see him on TV now because he's so old. I always think of him as Robin.
I will say that he is a far better Robin than Burt Ward. I'll say it.
He could come back as Nightwing now, though, right?
Oh, that'd be so good. And he's still actiony because he's in NCIS LA.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so
man's
good.
actiony.
Except they're not going to bring back anything from the Schumacher films. Let's be honest.
No.
All right. So then, let's go to the next one. In Batman Forever, in Batman Forever, what did Bruce and Dick bond over?
Chris.
All right, Chris.
Motorcycles.
Yeah, it was motorcycles.
Hmm.
That's 5 for Chris, 1 for SB.
I'm lucky to get the one.
All right. And next one. In Batman and Robin, who played the character of Poison Ivy?
Chris.
All right.
Uma Thurman.
It was. I tried, SP. I even drew it out, hoping you would like read my thoughts and see where I was going there.
Right when he said Chris, I'm like, it's Uma. But, oh, well.
All right.
You gotta remember, this movie came out in 96, 98. So you're talking about a Chris Farrell that was 13 or 14 years old at that time. He was very aware of Uma Thurman in that movie.
I was more aware of Alicia Silverstone. I'll say that. I'll admit it.
Fair.
What was the name of Ed Nigma's technology company in Batman Forever?
Chris?
Nigmatech. It was Nigmatech. And next question here. Oh, wait, I got 2 more. I'm going to rearrange these here. Finish this riddle. Tear one off and... That was the riddle from Batman Forever.
Oh, I don't remember.
Finish this riddle. Tear one off and...
Shiver me timbers. I don't know.
Scratch my head. Scratch my head was what it was. I literally scratched my head right now, SB. I tried to give you one here.
No, I saw that and I was going to say scratch my head, but it doesn't make... I don't know it. I think the last time I saw Batman Forever might have been when it came out on VHS and I rented it from Blockbuster.
All right. So then last question before our bonus question, which will be worth 10 points for some weird reason.
Congrats, Chris.
What was the name of Mr. Freeze's hideout in Batman and Robin?
Chris? Arctic Lounge?
No.
I think it was Free something, but I don't remember.
Snowy Cone's Ice Cream Factory. That was what the sign said. Snowy Cone's Ice Cream Factory. And the last one that is worth 10, which you can get, but you got to be fast on the draw here, SB, because Chris is going to know this one without question because he just watched the movie.
Well, good. Then he should win.
The last one worth 10. How do both movies end? Describe the scene.
Chris?
All right.
The actors are running with the bat signal behind them towards the camera.
So
silhouetted.
Chris wins with a whopping 18 points. Way to go, Chris Farrell. Ding, 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 ding.
Steven's attempt to school me failed when he realized I had just rewatched Batman Forever.
You would have won anyway. I'm not the big Batman guy. I've said, Steven, will you remember this now? I do not like Batman.
I look forward to the next episode of Geek Wars where SP will ask Batman questions.
Okay.
Can we do the Nolan-verse Batman movies next time?
Perhaps. But no, I appreciate you going with me on that ride as we talked about 2 of the best Batman films to see the light of day.
You didn't say The Dark Knight when you said that, which is one of the best Batman movies to have been made. Although one could argue it's really a Joker movie.
Just go ahead and say that Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey's not a bad Riddler.
He's far better character than Heath Ledger's character.
Oh, you are so full of crap right now. You're just trolling me.
I'm absolutely trolling. No, I don't believe that for a second.
I just looked in the box office. The Dark Knight had over $1 billion. So yeah. Okay.
You know, you actually were talking about, you were saying that he was a good Joker. I wish they just pulled him back just a little, because I agree. I actually think he was a really good fit for a Joker type, or not Joker, for a Riddler type character. I thought that Jim Carrey did do a good
in
Riddler.
that time period. Yeah,
I would say he would even today do a good one, but
a little too over the top nowadays.
If you had the right director pulling him back a bit, because if you look at things like Andy Kaufman, he can be pulled back. And so that's what I think was missing there, is someone to pull him back a bit.
Well, you got to realize, and this is not a dig at Joel Schumacher, but what he was asking him to do there was to be Jim Carrey over the top. I mean, that's what the goal was in 1995 or 96, whenever this movie was. It was, you need to put the Jim Carrey slant on the Riddler.
Okay.
But those that are like, Riddler's a garbage character, Jim Carrey does a terrible job, he straight up kills a dude, like in the first scene he's introduced, if I remember correctly. He kicks his boss out the window in an office chair. I mean, he's pretty brutal.
I would like to see Adam Sandler start off the movie as Scuba Steve, and then something horrible happens to him and he becomes the Riddler. That would be awesome.
Kent has an interesting point in the chat. He goes, I think he'd pull himself back a little bit. Instead, Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones got into a contest over who could be more over the top. Tommy Lee Jones does deserve more hatred for the over the topness than he gets. Like, he was pretty over the top.
It wasn't Two-Face. It was a Two-Face version of the Joker, almost, is what he was playing. And that's fine. That's what he was told to do at that point in time. But if you've read the comics or watched the cartoons, that's not Two-Face that like we saw there.
Tommy Lee Jones does not have, he's a great actor and I love watching him. He's very entertaining. He does not have an extensive range. The same character that he played in Batman was the same character that he played in Men in Black, and the same character he played in Man of the House, which is actually the Tommy Lee Jones movie that has been watched most in my house because, well, the girls.
I think he was a little bit different in Double Jeopardy.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
He was the same character in Captain America: The First Avenger. Same character. Same character.
Well, I think at a certain point they just cast him to be Tommy Lee Jones. Is pretty much what they're saying. Like, be you, just with this character's some attributes. I mean, and it works because he's got the charisma of himself, and being the not curmudgeonly, but the sharp wit, but kind of monotone at the same time. I don't know. I can't describe it well. Tommy Lee Jones is a good actor. He's known for that one corner of acting. I'm explaining this terribly.
Well, it's his ability to verbal bar with the lines that he's given, and he's just really good at it. And I've enjoyed his whole career. It's been great, but he's not an actor that will ever be remembered for a variety of talent.
How about I'm looking at
you could probably pick out one or two of his filmography of 84 credits, but he's not going to be remembered for that. He's going to be remembered for his what was the one that he was in with Harrison Ford?
The Fugitive.
The Fugitive. Yeah.
I didn't kill my wife. I don't care.
How about Space Cowboys?
Yeah.
Same character.
God, Space Cowboys.
Small Soldier. Same character.
How about Volcano?
Oh, really?
That too.
It's the same character.
It really is.
It's like he's the modern day John Wayne. Really.
On that, sorry, I was looking at his filmography, and I
trying to pull one out.
Can't find one. Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a moment to plug and promote and do whatever we'd like to do. Let's start off with Chris Farrell, who I believe is going to disagree with me.
I agree with you, Steven, 100%, that I'm going to talk about something here, which is Steven's new podcast he's starting, the I Heart Batman and Robin movie podcast, where each week he's going to dissect another 5 minutes of the movie and give his in-depth analysis of everything that's occurring on screen and give you a breakdown of all the different filming techniques used, all the different neon lighting in the background, and why he loves it so much. So stay tuned for Steven's upcoming Batman and Robin fan podcast.
You know, Chris Farrell's already committed to be on this, and it's really
only one episode.
Really interesting to me because he told me he was going to take the stance that George Clooney is the best Batman. That's really odd that he said that he's going to take that stance.
If I truly said that, someone strike me dead right now.
Right, I guess we need a new host. SP, is there anything that you would like to plug or promote?
First of all, this is more of a better podcasting comment, but Chris brought up iHeart, and I know he wasn't talking about iHeart Radio, but I was on a small car trip yesterday, and the daughter put on iHeart Radio, and I got to listen how iHeart Radio is the number one place for podcasts over and over and over again. I just want to say for the record here on the Gonna Geek Show, and I will say it again over on Better Podcasting, that's annoying and it's wrong. It is dead wrong. While this podcast and many others that I do are on iHeartRadio, it is not the number one place for podcasts. iHeart, you're lying. You're lying through your teeth. Okay, got that out of my system. Also, I do another podcast called Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I've been promoting the last few weeks because it's so good. We finally gotten to a point in the season where there is massive conspiracy theories about what is going on. So this is the week that all will be revealed, so to speak. Or maybe they'll just keep on dropping those little pellets of information along the way and stringing us along, which is actually what I think they're going to do because we're not even halfway through the season yet. So yes, if you want to talk about the conspiracies, go ahead, listen to the podcast, and then hit us up on our Twitter account or email me or whatever. Go to our Discord server at gonnageek.com/Discord. You can have a great conversation there. It's just a fun time to be a Marvel fan on the small screen.
And also, I just have to say, they also have the number one rated recipe for a very specialty ice cream. Check that out. Was an ice cream, but
it was
milk
chocolate shake, I believe, or milkshake or something. Yeah, it was a milkshake.
What's the name of it? Trout in
the milk.
Trout in the milk. Yeah, that's what it was. That's right. Haley's awesome. Chris, is there anything that you would actually like to plug or promote?
Just friendly reminder, there's a lot of live shows you can catch on the Gonna Geek Network. Go to geeks.live, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's the calendar of all of our upcoming live events.
So on that note, for episode number 337 of the official GonnaGeek.com show, I'm Stephen John Drew saying Batman forever.
I'm SP saying I want Robin back on the big screen.
And I'm Chris Farrell saying Batman and Robin.
By the way, I was really as a kid mad that they called the first one Batman Forever. It's like, no, that should be your last one. You can't use that and then have another movie. It makes no sense. Bye.
Thanks for checking out another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can always join us for our live recording sessions, which stream Mondays at 8:45 p.m. Eastern at www.geeks.live. And remember, you can find our full back catalog at gonnageek.com/show. If you're itching for more geeky content, check out other shows on GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Voice work was by Emily Prokop of the Story Behind podcast. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you back again next week.
Oh, let me go and pull up the YouTube and see how I said that so I can edit that in. Forgot about that. Thank you very much. Yeah, we won't be here next week.
Well, we'll be somewhere next week. We're not going to have a podcast next week.
I'm going off planet. Gonna go visit Suncast on Mars.
That they called
all of our upcoming live events. I got to bring in some lollipops.
Okay, here we go. One sec. And lastly, before we go, I'll just let you know we're not going to be around next week. There will not be an episode. Well, I guess technically we'll be around, but we're not doing a show next week. So come back the week after and check out the show then. Or just write at the Chris Farrell and tell him how much you love him and miss him. And maybe he'll just randomly stream. So on that note, and that'll all edit in. Cool.
Be careful what you ask me to randomly stream.
Yeah. we can randomly stream.
All right, so yeah, we won't be here next week. Well, we are here, like you said, but yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to our chat room.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I know Liberty Dude was in there. I know Dane and Kent and Suncast were in there tonight. You guys are great hanging out with us. Really appreciate it.
I really appreciated the support too, with everybody telling Chris how wrong he was about his hatred of those films. That was really impressive.
Only one film did I say I didn't like. The other one I said was underrated.
I thought Suncast nailed it when he said Batman and Robin is far better than all three Nolan films combined.
You know, it was a different time. Yeah, it was post 89 Batman. I'll grant you, but it was a different time for comic book movies. I would say the time between 89 Batman. When was the Mutants? When was that movie?
2000.
Okay, so
X-Men.
Yeah, the X-Men movie. So you had 10 years of just trying to cash in and not really do it seriously.
Suncast says he would actually say and agree about that. That's funny. Sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize.
No,
I understand why fans like Chris don't like the movies. Me, they were entertaining when I saw them, but I never want to see them again.
It's been a long time since I've seen them.
Caveat, remember, don't mind Batman Forever. It's Batman and Robin that I think is bad.
I thought that it was my second best, my second favorite out of the whole series from 89 to Batman and Robin. I love the ensemble cast.
The pivot to the wackiness you got in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin is because Batman Returns was so GD dark that they literally couldn't sell Happy Meal toys and stuff like that for it, because Burton's Batman movies are fun, but they're gothic, they're dark,
yeah,
they're twisted, and they're scary.
And that's Batman.
Yeah.
So if you're a Batman fan, that's the sort of stuff that you want.
Oh, look, I can rent it. I can rent it for $5 or buy it for.
Do you have HBO Max? Because it's on HBO Max, all the Batman movies. It's leaving July 1st. I don't remember what service it's going to.
I wonder if it is.
It should be on HBO Max for another day. Then I think it goes back to Netflix.
Just about everybody that I know is going to watch Hamilton on the 3rd of July.
Hell yeah. I've wanted to see it forever. And now that it's coming to Disney Plus, it makes it a lot easier.
That's not live, right? It's streaming.
No, that's one they recorded
no, but
6 months ago from one of the live productions they did.
Oh, okay.
So Suncast, that's a fair statement. And the chat room says I'm not a fan of Nolan. And I don't like all of his stuff. And I think people have an overblown opinion of how good a filmmaker Nolan is in some cases. And he just comes off as kind of conceited in God's gift to filmmaking at times. And like, did you see the stuff that was making the rounds today that Anne Hathaway was doing an interview where she's like, yeah, he doesn't allow chairs on set because if you're sitting, you're not working. And everyone's like, what the shit is this? Pardon my language. I know we're still live.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see that based on past experience he might have had.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing as professional respect. I mean, if you're going to hire these actors and this crew to work on the job, you're going to assume they're professional.
Yeah. most of these guys on most movie productions have a chair with their name printed on the back of it, so that in between takes they can sit down, review the script and stuff like that.
Well,
No.
let's be honest, some of the days are very, very long, and
Yeah.
like when's the last? Even people who work in retail, they get the occasional moment to sit down. It might be a quick break in the middle of an 8-hour shift, but they get a chance. Like,
the thing that's fascinating about Christopher Nolan is whether you like his movies or not, the techniques and things that he does with it. Like, he brought IMAX cameras back to being a mainstream thing for theatrical releases because he made a point of filming certain parts of Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises in IMAX footage. And it's awesome when you get to go and experience it in IMAX, because I went and saw Dark Knight Rises in IMAX. Like, the entire plane scene with Bane is done on IMAX cameras and stuff like that. And it's astounding. And the difficulties they had, because they only have enough film in one of those cameras run for like 90 seconds at a time. They're super noisy, so they've got to redo a bunch of the audio. They've made enhancements since then, but there were a bunch of technical limitations. And like that whole airplane scene to open Dark Knight Rises, that's a practical effect. Like, they were suspending an airplane and doing stuff in there. It wasn't CG. The scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker is confronting Batman and they flip that semi truck nose forward and the back goes over it. Practical effect. Like, he does cool stuff on film and has a cool grasp of how to do practical things that resonate and look really cool. The special effects and the twists and features of Inception. He does really cool stuff. It's just, how do I put this? I'm going to sound film snobbish here, and I don't intend to. Everyone buys into his flavor of bullshit a lot, which is, oh my God, he's the greatest filmmaker ever because he does weird stuff. Yes and no. He does cool, interesting techniques, doesn't necessarily make his movies good. I would argue that the Russo brothers have done more movies I've enjoyed that may not be as artistically sound or something like that, but
yeah, it's a big thing with the Academy. It's artistic versus enjoyment. And I get the artistic part of the Academy, but I would like to, because there's been a lot of performances that have been amazing and they just get shoved to the side because, oh, you had help with ADR afterwards and CG and stuff. So, whatever. And I have a hunch the Academy is going to be looking at more diversity in the future, which will be good, because like Black Panther, I think Black Panther should have gotten more wins than it did, and for a lot of reasons, one of which is diversity, but they got shoved into the the sci-fi
movies, so it'll never get yeah. And like Liberty Dude says, and I tend to agree, most time the Academy's irrelevant. I mean, who really cares other than being able, from the movie producer standpoint, to put on your business card or on your movie poster on the DVD release, Academy Award winner.
I would say the Academy is still important these days because of the performance that is put on for their awards show.
I can buy Batman and Robin on Amazon, the VHS tape for $20.
Why would you buy the VHS?
Yeah, I might have it on VHS.
The Blu-ray's 19. Sorry.
No, but there are some Nolan movies I really enjoy. I had to pull up the IMDb to look. Like, I enjoy his Batman movies. I really enjoyed Memento. I really enjoyed The Prestige, which was the magician one he did that had like Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale in it, I believe. Dunkirk looks really good. I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah, I had issues with Dunkirk, but as far as being well done, I'd say it was well produced. I just didn't enjoy the production.
I will say this for Christopher Nolan: all of the movies he puts out, they are technically sound and they look fantastic. And you can see the production value and the thought that goes into how to set the shot up, how to make it appear best on screen and stuff like that. It's just the story that's associated with it may not be something that resonates with you. And that's fine. I can appreciate the skill behind what he does. I just don't necessarily care for all the movies.
The story of So in Dunkirk in particular, the story of Dunkirk, that was a story that honestly probably needed to be retold. And I'm glad that he did. The way that he told the story was very, very, very artistic. And if you ever get a chance to watch it, Chris, you'll have to let me know what you think about it. I won't say any more, but
I wonder if it's streaming anywhere. Let me look.
All right. Well, we're going to have to shut down. Thanks everybody for coming on by. Hope you have yourself a wonderful rest of your evening, and Better Podcasting will be live tomorrow.